Yep. Oh my god.
Look at the rims, dog.
Oh my god. Hey everybody, TopHatPlus here. The car has 128 kilometers on it, a full tank of fuel. Oh my god. It is just literally unbelievable.
The more you know who you are and what you want, the less you let things upset you.
Let's talk the exterior of the car. I want to be 100% clear. This is entirely my fault. None of this is this car's fault. Nothing is a GM production issue. Nothing is poor engineering. Nothing is a lack of quality. Nothing is this car's fault. Chevrolet's fault, General Motors' fault, or anybody's fault but my own. This car was so unattainably expensive, and my life did not go as I had intended for me to be able to afford the car when I was on track to being able to do so, but due to it getting in an accident and losing basically its entire sheet paper value, I have been unable to get rid of it, and I'm kind of stuck with it, but I'm also so far behind on payments and trying to get caught up that I don't really know what to do at this point other than keep struggling and trying to get it caught up. But I thought we would talk about it honestly and openly anyways. So, 2016 Camaro 2SS, 121,000 kilometers. There is some body damage on the side, on the front there, and on the rear. I did sideswipe a guardrail exiting the highway. Story for another day. That is the only real exterior damage on the vehicle other than a few dents from some walnuts, because it was parked on the street for a while. The paint is in great condition. Like, it is orange peeled, as General Motors cars, American cars, consumer cars are from the factory, but nothing has happened since. The factory rally stripes, these are not original because it's been replaced at the 2-year mark, so these are 5 years old. They look great. A lot of the tarnishing up here can come off if I buff it and clean it. I just haven't had a chance to do it. Same with here. I'd honestly thought about just wrapping over top of it and just adding another layer. But the OEM stuff has held up absolutely mint. Like, really good. The ACS composite parts that I have added have also been absolutely mint. Very happy. The exhaust tips are great. Everything else about the car's exterior is great. Obviously, I'm still running winter rims. This car has been off the road for almost 8 months. So I haven't really had a chance to get it back. I need tires for the summers. You guys know how life goes. This car has not been what I had planned, but we are here, and I am doing the best I can do to get everything back together. So, as far as this car from a mechanical perspective, it has been nothing but basic general maintenance that you would do on any car. Very impressed. As you can tell, the infotainment screen all works pretty good. Check engine lights because I need an oil change. Tire pressure sensors because my winters are still on, so it needs swapped over to the summers, which has them. But that's probably not going to happen ever. Obviously, we need some gas. Everything else is held up and performed exceptionally well. There is a few dents in the aluminum here. It is kind of soft, but again, the car's been used for 7 years, 121,000 kilometers. The infotainment screens always work great. Apple CarPlays always work great. All the plastics in here look great. The steering wheel, for how many kilometers are on it and how little I've cleaned it, has worn really well. All of the brushed metal here has held up very well. All of the emblems have maintained their color quite nicely, including on the seats. They have not had any issues. The leather on the seats has held up very well. Overall, the interior of this car is, I would say, 9 out of 10, and I haven't taken very good care of it. I wanted to thank everybody who has followed along and supported the channel over the years. We have achieved some pretty spectacular things, but we are just getting started, and I wanted to give you guys kind of an overview story of my entire experience owning my Camaro. I purchased my 2016 Camaro 2SS on September 2nd, 2016 for the mere price of $50,000, which at the time was an absolutely rash and irresponsible decision to make. They say with age comes wisdom, and I sure hope so, and I sure hope I don't make these mistakes again, but I would like to explain why I made this decision, knowing it was not a smart decision at the time. I made this decision because I was trying to force myself to stay in a job I was grotesquely unhappy at. I was not being respected, I was not being treated fairly, I was continuously feeling like I needed to do more with my life and take a risk. So rather than reformat and do something else, I decided to take on a financial burden I couldn't realistically afford in order to encourage and coax myself into staying at a job that had a consistent paycheck. Despite this being one of the worst decisions of my entire life, I made it. I stuck to it, and I have been continuously working to rectify this situation since. I had previously uploaded some YouTube videos and started my journey through content creation prior to getting the car, but the car was the catalyst, it was the motivation, and it was the reason I wanted to be on YouTube and make YouTube content. I wanted to share an experience I was going through in my life through a set of eyes and through a set of circumstances that were somewhat unique. The sum of my life at that point had been proving what somebody can do despite being born and setting records with their disability, so now I wanted to do something that showed how prosperous you can be despite having a disability. The first year and a half with the car was pretty seamless and pretty smooth. Everything went according to plan, maintenance was done according to plan, and everything seemed to be prospering quite well, including the channel. But that's when everything started to change. The work environment that I had fought so desperately to force myself into had become even more negative and even more toxic than I could have hoped. I was constantly reminded that my disability was slowing me down. I was constantly docked 50% of my pay despite working an entire month. It was becoming a situation where I had to make a drastic decision. Workplace complications aside, I had also begun to experience some extreme personal hardships. I had my family intervene on a marriage engagement to which they felt like I was unhappy, and they were unwilling to listen and did everything they could do to cancel it. Unfortunately, they were incredibly successful, and I ended up having to terminate the relationship to distance myself and provide my former partner the opportunity to have a strong family life that I was unable to provide. On top of all of these personal hardships, I forced myself to maintain my job and go to work every single day as though I was not experiencing the worst pain that I had ever felt in my entire life, caused by the people who were supposed to love me the most. This was not an eye-opening experience. This was a soul-crushing experience that gave me absolutely no reason to continue living. I gave myself two options. I was either going to risk entire financial ruins, get the car repossessed, and flee for my life, or I was going to spread my head across the shop floor to remove from my family everything they loved so that they could even remotely understand what I was feeling and what I was experiencing. I was not born a quitter. I will not die a quitter. So I did exactly what I felt I could do, and I fled. I quit my job, I removed myself from my family, and I started anew abroad. During this drastic transition in my life and career change, I desperately wanted to get rid of this Camaro. It had accrued over $40,000 in Carfax damage and was now considered valueless to any potential buyers or any potential dealership for me to trade in. Because of these circumstances, I have maintained and hidden the car from whoever I needed to until I can get my life put back together and get it paid off. While struggling to keep my head afloat and food on the table, I have lost almost complete ability to maintain my car beyond what I am able to do at home. This has left the car looking more tired and running in a far worse shape than it otherwise would have been had I been able to maintain proper maintenance and repairs on the vehicle as needed. That being said, the car has been absolutely amazing. The car has continued to remind me that my vision and my belief and my creative drive will get me out of the exact spot I have been trying to do for many, many years. During the last 2 to 3 years of owning my Camaro, the only maintenance it has received is basic oil changes, adding air to the tires, and checking the filters. November 2022, my car experienced its first mechanical failure that was caused by a lack of maintenance on my part. The coolant temperature sensor had failed, and I was compensating by unplugging the fans to stop the draining on the battery. I had thought I plugged the fans back in. I had not plugged the fans back in, and I experienced an overheat on the vehicle on a cool winter day, and I panicked, pulled over, shut the car off, and that's where all my problems started. The car was towed. I attempted to work on it and fix it myself. We had established that the starter had been melted. I had replaced the starter. I had replaced the battery. I had gone through the fuses, but I was unable to fix it. That's when the car was then sent up north to my good friend, King Boss Quads. King Boss Quad had the car for a number of months. Him and some other friends that I have made and he has made in his new neighborhood worked on the car over the course of several months and got it fixed. The car was then sent back down to me, where I have had it ever since, and I have been driving it on scarce occasion when I need it. I do not have a definitive plan in place on how to get caught up on the payments and the maintenance and the repairs that the car currently requires, but the quest has never lost my sight, and I am continuing to push myself until I get this situation rectified. I can tell you with absolute certainty, standing here after 7 years with this car, this is the furthest experience from what I had anticipated owning a Camaro would be, but we are here. I have learned a lot, and I will take my new knowledge forward into the future and make better decisions going forward. I will continue to share both glimpses into my work and personal life. I will continue to evolve and grow my content, my quality, and everything I am sharing. The last 7 years has been an absolute roller coaster, and I could not be more appreciative for all of the support, all of the comments, all of the shares, and all of the feedback I have received. To many of you, I have interacted dozens, if not several dozens or hundreds of times, and it is quite the delight to see your comments, your likes, and your shares throughout the years. From my family to yours, I really truly hope you drive safe, take care, and behave as always.